and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole. That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it. But they're not going to sell those cars. They're building massive factories. A friend of mine.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the comment that set tongues wagging all weekend long. Donald Trump held a rally in Ohio on behalf of U.S. Senate candidate Bernie Moreno. And that one comment, bloodbath, has been running all weekend in the media. But I do have a question. Is this much ado about nothing, or should everybody be genuinely worried that Donald Trump is promising a bloodbath in November if he doesn't win? Hang on, folks. We're going to get into all of this in just 1 second.
My name is Brian Trippett. I am your front porch conservative. Step on up to my electronic front porch and let's talk.
All weekend long, everybody's been talking about one comment that Donald Trump made at a rally outside Dayton, Ohio at the airport. Speaking on behalf of U.S. Senate candidate Bernie Moreno, who Trump endorsed in the primary for the Senate seat in this November, Trump made any number of different comments. But one of them, and we just played it for you, is the comment about if he's not elected in November, there'll be a bloodbath in the country. And needless to say, it got picked up on real fast. Let's start and look at what's going on. We go straight to the pages of Politico.com. Headline: Trump says country will face bloodbath if Biden wins in November. While it was unclear what the former president meant exactly, the remarks came as Trump was complaining about the automobile industry. In an article written by Maya Ward, Donald Trump on Saturday said it will be a bloodbath for the United States if he doesn't win in November. Quote, "Now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath. That's going to be the least of it," Trump said during a rally near Dayton, Ohio. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. It was unclear what the former president meant exactly. The remarks came as Trump was complaining about the automobile industry. Well, this is very, very serious, don't you know? And needless to say, the Biden-Harris campaign wasted no time picking up on what happened, and they issued a press release around 9 o'clock Saturday night. Take a look at this, folks, and this is pretty strong stuff. Quote, "Tonight, Donald Trump said there would be a bloodbath if he wasn't elected, and that if he lost, there would be no more elections. After opening the general election by meeting with authoritarian leaders and rallying alongside conspiracy theorists, Donald Trump continues to praise dictators, promise to pardon political violence, and launch racist attacks against black and brown Americans. It's why last night, Trump's own former Vice President Mike Pence, who Trump supporters called to hang for not overturning the election, came out against Trump. This is who Donald Trump is, a loser who gets beat by over 7 million votes, and then instead of appealing to a wider mainstream audience, doubles down on his threats of political violence. He wants another January 6th, and the American people are going to give him another electoral defeat this November because they continue to reject his extremism, his affection for violence, and his thirst for revenge. Oh my goodness. Oh my word. Oh, the humanity. But it gets better from there. So Politico picks it up first. The Biden campaign runs with it. And now let's go to NBC News. Folks, check this out from our dear friends over there at the Peacock.
During a campaign rally in Ohio on Saturday, former President Trump promised to place tariffs on cars manufactured abroad if he's reelected, and made a dire prediction of what would happen if he is not.
Now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole. That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it.
In response to the former president's comments, a campaign spokeswoman told NBC News Biden's policies will create an economic bloodbath for the auto industry and auto workers. A spokesman for President Biden's reelection campaign later said Mr. Trump was doubling down on his threats of political violence with that bloodbath comment.
Well, needless to say, not to be outdone, our dear friends over at CNN chimed in on this, and they got some help doing it. Comments by former Speaker Nancy Pelosi on State of the Union with Dana Bash this Sunday morning. Folks, if you really want to get a feel for what's going on, take a listen to this.
But we just have to win this election, because he's even predicting a bloodbath. What does that mean? He's going to exact a bloodbath? There's something wrong here. How respectful I am of the American people and their goodness. But how much more do they have to see from him to understand that this isn't what our country is about?
Okay. You've got NBC, CNN. Anybody else want to chime in on this thing? Oh, I forgot. Yes, we do have one more that wants to get in. ABC, Sunday night coverage. Folks, do me a favor and take a listen to this.
The race for the White House and former President Trump's campaign now on the defensive after his fiery rhetoric at a rally in Dayton, Ohio on Saturday night. Trump warning while discussing the economy that there would be a, quote, bloodbath if he is not reelected in November. This after the former president kicked off the event by paying tribute to those who attacked the U.S. Capitol on January 6th.
Oh, my God, this is awful. This is terrible. Can you believe Donald Trump is saying there's going to be a bloodbath in America if he doesn't win in November? This is terrible. He's appealing to the worst instincts of the American people. My God, how can we possibly let this man become the next president of the United States? How can we possibly let him go back to the White House? This is horrible. Who does this man think he is? He's all about political violence. He's all about revenge. He's all about retribution. Dear God, we've got to do something about this. For the love of God, will someone please help America? There's just one little problem with all of this. And I think you're going to begin to see it when you hear the clip in its entirety. I am not going to interrupt as you listen to this.
They want to do this all-electric nonsense where the cars don't go far, they cost too much, and they're all made in China. And the head of the United Auto Workers never probably shook hands with a Republican before. They're destroying. You know, Mexico has taken over a period of 30 years, 34% of the automobile manufacturing business in our country. Think of it. Went to Mexico. China now is building a couple of massive plants where they're going to build the cars in Mexico and they think that they're going to sell those cars into the United States with no tax at the border. Let me tell you something to China. If you're listening, President Xi, and you and I are friends, but he understands the way I deal, those big monster car manufacturing plants that you're building in Mexico right now, and you think you're going to get that, you're going to not hire Americans, and you're going to sell the cars to us. Now, we're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole, that's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it.
You know, I'm 52 years old. I have seen the mainstream media over the years in one form or another try to gaslight the American people into buying off on and believing any number of different things by the way they slant coverage. But in 52 years and decades of watching American politics and media coverage thereof, I don't think I have ever seen such an egregious example of blatant bias. Look, if the press doesn't like Donald Trump, that's one thing. I don't expect them to. Even back in the days when the media was reasonable, okay, you knew a lot of the people working in the media might be lefties, but they could at least do their coverage down the middle to the extent possible. Personal bias always seeps into what you're doing, no matter how hard you try to be objective about it. This isn't even close to being objective, what we're watching here, folks. You got people at NBC, you got people at ABC, and then you got Politico saying, well, we don't understand exactly what he meant by the comment, but he said there'd be a bloodbath in America. Oh, my God. This is... I don't know whether to get mad at the media or laugh at them. I'm tempted to laugh at them because this one is so demonstrably stupid and so easily rebutted that I have a funny feeling this is going to backfire. This is another one of those moments that Selena Zito, the legendary reporter from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette and Washington Examiner, has written about. She said years ago about Trump that his supporters take him seriously, but they don't take him literally. Trump's political enemies take him literally, but they don't take him seriously. And this just might be another great example of that. So that's why I'm almost tempted to laugh. This is backfiring all over the internet right now. And that's what makes it so funny. All I've got to do is take a 1 minute and 16-second clip, let you, the viewer, hear it in its entirety, and you can easily see for yourselves, he's not talking about political violence. He's not talking about anything else. He's talking about the economic consequences of what happens if he's not elected. Now, Donald Trump's a big boy. He can defend himself. He doesn't need me to do it. Although, frankly, if he hired me on as press secretary for the campaign, he probably... No, I'm just kidding. But you see my point. I'm not here to defend Trump. If Trump screws something up, I'll be one of the people out there screaming the loudest. Okay? There's some things he's doing right now that are driving me 7 shades of crazy. But on this one, this is so over the top on the part of the media, it almost... It just staggers the mind. But also, I have another thought. Is this the desperation of the mainstream media, the Democrats, and the Biden campaign, that they're glomming on to almost anything they can to try to get some kind of traction, some kind of leverage against Trump going into November? Look, everybody can see the polling numbers. Everybody realizes Biden is in deep political doo-doo. That's the technical term for it, folks. But anyway, you get my point. They know he's in trouble. They've got to get something to change the conversation. They've got to get something to get everybody's minds off a war between Israel and Hamas, the troubles in Ukraine, economic problems, high inflation, problems at the southern border, violence being caused by illegals coming across a wide open southern border. They've got to change the conversation. And if one little comment taken out of context will let them do that, don't you think they won't do it? And that's exactly what's going on here. The fear is palpable, and you can smell it everywhere you go. Walk up to a Democrat, walk up to a progressive, walk up to a liberal, walk up to a Biden voter, go, ooh, I get the faint whiff of fear coming off of you. And you wouldn't be wrong. This is just, like I said, I don't know whether to laugh or get mad about it. Now, if I were going to get mad about it, I'd be justified. I've seen all kinds of examples over the years of blatant editing of something so you can slant a particular happening a certain way to get people to think about it in the manner you want. And if you need a perfect example of it, this is it right here. So, yeah, go on, mainstream media. Go on doing stuff like this. But the problem you've got is your power and your influence is waning. There are little old guys like me out here on social media and people far bigger, far better than I am with far more reach that are doing what I'm doing right now. And they're doing it for their own reasons. But the point is, this lie that you're trying to perpetrate on the American people, this isn't going to last very long. You give this about, I'd say 48 to 72 hours. Oh, the Democrats will keep on trying to use this all the way into November. But in about 48 to 72 hours, its political effectiveness for you is going to be neutralized. So enjoy it while you can, because you won't be enjoying it long. But that's what I think about it. What do you think? As we start to wrap up this video, please do me some favors as always. Number 1, if you are not a subscriber to my channel, please do so. Number 2, please hit the bell for notifications. I want to make sure you're always aware when new material is coming out, be it a video or a live stream. Number 3, please leave a comment below. Number 4, share the video around. And finally, please give me a thumbs up. My name is Brian Trippett. I am your front porch conservative, and I will see you next time.